Part 3. How to break the worry habits before it breaks you. Chapter 6. How to crowd worry out of your mind. One short way to push worries out of is to focus on something else, on distracting yourself. Occupational therapy is the term now used by psychiatry when work is prescribed as though it were a medicine. Any psychiatrist will tell you that keeping busy is one of the best anesthetic ever known for sick nerves. Henry W. Longfellow found that out of for himself when he lost his wife had been melting some sealing wax at a candle one day. When her clothes caught fire, she died from the burns. For a while, Longfellow was so tortured by the memory of that dreadful experience that he nearly went insane. But fortunately for him, his three small children needed his attention. In spite of his own grief, Longfellow undertook to be father and mother to his children. He took them for walks, told them stories, played games with them, and immortalized their companionship in his poem, The Children's Hour. He also translated Dennett, and all these duties combined kept him so busy that he forgot himself entirely and regained his peace of mind. Most of us have little trouble losing ourselves in action while we have our noses to the grindstone and are doing our day's work. But the horse after work, they are the dangerous ones. Just when we are free to enjoy our own leisure and out to be happiest, that's when the blue devils of worry attack us. That's when we begin to wonder whether we are getting anywhere in life, whether we are in a rut, whether the boss meant anything by that remark he made today, or whether we are getting bled. If you and I don't keep busy, if we sit around and brood, we will hatch out a whole hog of what Charles Darwin used to call the Weber Grebes. And the Weber Grebes are nothing but old fashioned germlines that will run us hollow and destroy our power of action and will. I know a businessman in New York who fought the Weber Gibbos by getting so busy that he had no time to fret and strive. His name is Tremper Longman, and his office is at 40 Wall Street. He was a student in one of my adult education classes, and his talk on conquering worry was so interesting, so impressive, that I asked him to have supper with me after class. And we sat in a restaurant until long past midnight discussing his experiences. Here is the story he told me. 18 years old. I was so worried. I had insomnia. I was tense, irritated, and jittery. I felt I was headed for a nervous breakdown. I had reasons to be worried. I was treasurer of the Crown Fruit and Extract Company, 418 West Broadway, New York. We had $500,000 invested in a strawberries packed in gallon tins. For 20 years, we had been selling these gallons tins of strawberries to manufacture of ice cream. Suddenly, our sales stopped because the big ice cream makers such as National Dairy and Boudin's were rapidly increasing their production and were saving money and time by buying strawberries packed in barrels. Not only were we left with $500,000 in berries we wouldn't sell, but we were also under contract to buy $1 million more of strawberries in the next 12 months. We had already borrowed $350,000 from the banks. We couldn't possibly pay off or renew these loans. No wonder I was worried. I rushed out of Watsonville, California, where our factory was located, and tried to persuade our president that conditions had changed, that we were facing ruin. He refused to believe it. He blamed our New York office for all the trouble, poor salesmanship. After days of pleading, I finally persuaded him to stop packing more strawberries and to sell our new supply on the fresh berry market in the San Francisco. That almost solved our problem. I should have been able to stop worrying then, but I couldn't since worry is a habit, and I had that habit. When I returned to New York, I began worrying about everything: the cherries we were buying in Italy, the pineapples we were buying in Hawaii, and so on. I was tense, jittery, and couldn't sleep. And as I have already said, I was heading for a nervous breakdown. In despair, I adopted a way of life that cursed, cursed my insomnia and stopped my worries. I got busy. I got so busy with problems demanding all my faculties that I had no time to worry. I had been working 7 hours a day. Now began working 15 and 16 hours a day. I got down to the office every morning at 8 a.m. and stayed there every night until almost midnight. I took on new duties, new responsibilities. When I got home, at midnight, I was so exhausted when I fell in the bed that I became unconscious in a few seconds. I kept up this program for about 3 months. I had broken the habit of worry by the time, so I returned to a normal working day of 7 or 8 hours. This event occurred 18 years ago. I have never been troubled with insomnia or worry since then. George Bernard Shaw was right. He summed it all up when he said, "The secret of being miserable is to have the leisure to bother about whether you are happy or not. So don't bother to think about it. Spit on your hands and get busy. Your blood will start circulating, your mind will start ticking, and pretty soon this whole positive upshock of life in your body will drive worry from your mind. Get busy, keep busy, isn't the cheapest kind of medicine available on this earth and one of the best. To break the worry habit, here is rule 1: keep busy. The worried person must lose himself in action, lest he wither in despair.